Good evening, guys, and welcome to another weekly prep session. So, tonight we're not going to waste time. We're going to break down everything that the market have been doing over the past week and what we could expect coming into this week. So, if you've been confused about what the markets are actually doing or why the market is doing what it's doing, or you've been taking back to back losses just because you're wrong about market direction, then watch this video. And at the end of this video, you'd have clarity on what to expect and the side to be on for you to start having accuracy in your analysis. So, as usual, we want to start with fundamentals so understand the why behind the market movements. So, let us start with news and what to expect in terms of fundamentals. So last week, as I've said in my previous weekly preps, we're expecting the Fed, Jerome Powell, and the rest of them to cut rates. This has been looming for over 4 weeks now, and usually we're expecting that as the rates are cut, we'd see a spike upwards. Price would blast upwards, and we did see that spike. But then what we're having right now is a very deep retracement happening on all Euro USD, GBP USD, and UJ is doing the opposite way. And people are like confused. What's happening? I thought the rate cut happened and we're supposed to see the dollar weaken. Well, you need to understand something. The rate cuts were expected, and usually it is when there's a higher there's a higher data than what was expected that you have such sharp moves. So the consensus for that interest rate cut was 4.25 and it actually came out as 4.25. So definitely you don't have a very crazy move. But guess what? That that decision is still going to affect the dollar. And this is just a retracement for the meantime. The the trend will pick up again and we'll see that bullish move on EUGU and a bearish move on UJ as long as the upcoming data still supports the move. So the reason why they cut the rate is because the jobs are weak and inflation is not so crazy. But if jobs begin to get strong and inflation starts to go up, they'll have to hike the rates again. And then we're going to see a crazy crash on EUGU and UJ goes the opposite way. While the dollar, instead of continuing to get weak, it will start to rebound. But as long as the news events coming out or the data we're receiving continues to weaken the dollar, things like weakening jobs, inflation rates staying the same or getting weaker, then the dollar is going to get weaker as well. But now we know all the variables. Let's see what we could expect this week. So for Monday, we've got just majorly medium impact news. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. Then for Tuesday, do we have anything on the dollar? We have only one high impact news. That's the S&P Global Services PMI. Then we have another speech by Fed Chair Powell. You'd have to pay attention to this because I don't know what the man will see. He can see something that will just reverse the entire trend, although not in the way you'd expect a reversal, but maybe like a spike up, spike down. We do not know. So Tuesday 23rd, look out for Fed Chair Powell speech by 5:35. Then on Wednesday we have a few high impact USD news, new home sales. They won't really do much against those pairs. And on Thursday we have continuing jobless claims. So this is what you want to pay more attention to. So after Fed Chair Powell's speech on Tuesday, pay very close attention to this continuing jobless claims. If all of them come out still weak on dollar, we're going to see the continuation of that trend I talked about on EU, GU, and the rest. Yeah, so just keep an eye on these jobless claims. This is majority the major news events that are driving this move is interest rates, jobs, and inflation rates. These three things. Those are the things you want. And core CPI. That's consumer price index. Just pay close attention to all these things. So that same Thursday is it's packed with a lot of news, existing home sales, a lot of things. So you want to be very controlled in the way you place your entries. You understand? So what we're studying right now is the why behind the market move. Why is the market currently doing what it's doing? And we understand it. Right now, the market is risk on. Since the dollar is weakening, everybody's putting their money in gold and other riskier pairs. So we'll see a lot of movement. Now for Friday, we have just We have personal income MOM. We have core PCE price index. We have so basically we have a lot of news that's going to either take price to where we want to get it to, or help us grab liquidity that will eventually take price to where we want to get it to. Now understand the why behind what the market is doing. So at least all these other news, they won't have as much effect as initial jobless claims, core CPI, the Fed Chair Powell speech, and inflation rate. So pay attention to these ones. Now we know the why. Let's look at sentiment. Let's see what most people are currently doing on these pairs. So your USD, we have a balance right now. We have a balance on USD. We have more people selling more people selling GU at the moment. More reason as to why I told you to continue its bullish trend. We still have, I think there's a kind of balance on USD right now. Okay, UJ is still like a balance. I have more people selling and less people long. Eventually that thing will change, and that's what I'm expecting. For UAUS, you have more people selling already. So these are just testament to the why behind what the market is doing. Now let's look at the what. Let's look at the charts. Let's see what's actually doing. The what of what the market is doing. Let's start with EURUSD. So for my preps, I just like to stick with the 4-hour time frame. It gives us a much cleaner um approach to study what price is doing. So this is the prediction I've made since 4 weeks ago. Not exactly to take the trade like this, but the fact that I was going to react off of one of these two zones and then push up to this target. One of our overall target was this high, which I predicted all the way since August 1st. I said that high was going to be clapped, and we achieved that just before that FOMC came out. So right now we're still bullish based on the 4-hour trend. And where could we see price react? So let me take this zone since price has reacted already. We could see price normally I like to see a liquidity grab before a reaction in price. Yeah. So I don't know. Let me delete this so it's clear. We could very easily see price come all the way down to this point and maybe react from there. We do not know exactly where price could react from, but probably price could clear liquidity above below these lows. That's this one, and then possibly tap into here and then push forward. So it can also go lower and still come back here. We don't know exactly where, but based on the current trend, we are still bullish. So we'll begin to consider changing our bias to bearish after price breaks all these levels, then still breaks here and continues to break. That's when we'll confirm that we're now bearish. Until price does that, we're still bullish and we're still expecting price to move up eventually. So this is my first point of interest. I'm not telling you that price will exactly react from here, but this is the first place I'll be looking for price to react from. That will be starting tomorrow as the market opens. That's for Euro USD. So for GBP USD, GBP USD is yet to hit my final target as I predicted in my weekly prep, which is all the way up there. So what I'm expecting GU to do will be to grab some form of liquidity, which is already doing, and to react off of this zone. So you see it's already going in there. So that's my prediction for GU. For GU to it has already clapped them. So from here, I'm expecting a reaction. At least the first target will be here. That's the first target for price. Now, as I've made this prediction, I'm also keeping my eyes on the news, the data coming out, because now we know the why, and the why will drive the what. If you understand what I'm saying, the why will drive the what. We know why. So if the why changes, the what changes as well. So keep an eye on those data. Based on trend and technical analysis, we're still bullish on GU, and I'm expecting price to react from here. And so this is the what of what price is. And finally is the how. How would you enter the trade? That would depend on your own individual system, depending on how you take your trades. But this is what I'm expecting GU to do. I'm not saying to do exactly that. It may decide not to do it, it may decide to fail. But for us to see a change of trend, price will have to break below here, break below all the major lows, and continue to make new structural points. That's when we know that okay, a change of the trend is happening. But based on news and based on technicals, we're still strongly bullish. This is just a retracement as expected. Now for UJ, USD JPY, you can see it's still within our zone. Nothing crazy has happened. I expected price to like clap that was the target I predicted for everybody in previous weekly preps, and did exactly that. Right now we're seeing a liquidity grab above this high. So where could price react from? It could still just react from this box that it's already inside. Yeah, you could do that. Or you could go higher. But I'm still bearish on UJ long term in terms of the 4 hour. So if price decides to break above all these highs and starts to make new structural points, then I'll be fully convinced that okay, now we're switching bullish on the UJ. But unless price does that, we stick to our bearish bias. Now, if we were to look at gold for a second, gold is still bullish. Risk on, people are still buying gold. So on the lower time frames, we've seen sales happening on, excuse me, on gold. Yeah, that's very possible. But on the 4 hour time frame, we're still bullish. So price is currently reacting off of this point right here. Let me change that. Price is currently reacting off of this OB here, but the thing is, price can very easily do this, grab liquidity and push up very easily. So it's either price will just continue upwards and take out this high, or it will push down, grab liquidity, then react and continue upwards. But until price decides to break here and come all the way and break here, we're not bearish, we're still bullish. Then for BTC, I've been bullish on the BTC for since here. And all my targets have been hit. My final target for BTC is 123,731. I don't know how to get there, but I shall know that to get there, and we're still bullish right now. So there was this liquidity grab, tap into this level, price broke, then price currently reacting off of this OB. Price could decide to grab liquidity below there again and come back to this zone, very possible. But the baseline is I'm still bullish on BTC. So what you want to do is to make, since you already have an idea of context, what is the price doing? What is the current trend? What is the dominant trend? You now know that okay, I'm looking for buys. The next thing you want to pay attention to is where's my point of interest. That's the only place you want to be taking trades from, your POI. So if you found your POI, great. The next thing now is entry. How would I enter the trade? The how, that depends on your own individual peculiar system. How would you enter the trade? So if you want insights into how I personally enter my trades, we currently have some spots open for our inner circle, and if you want more details, you just go to this website, https://dmc ic.uwu.ai. So training is completely free of charge for the next 6 days, but you need to meet some certain criteria. So if you want to know the criteria you have to meet to qualify for that free training, all you have to do is go to this website now, dmc-ic.uwu.ai. We'll train you for free till you're profitable and hit your first payout before collecting a charge for the training that we gave to you. If that makes sense, then I think I've covered everything I need to cover. But I said I stopped at entry. So once you now know how to enter the trades, the final thing is timing. When should you enter the trade? If you get everything else right, but you mess up your timing, you're going to have so many losing trades that you should not have taken simply because you did not master the best time to trade your particular system. So these are the 4 pillars that will make any strategy profitable and anybody profitable. First is context, structure. What is the market actually doing, and how can you align with that thing that the market is doing? After structure is POI. Where should you be looking to take the trade from? Point of interest, that's POI. The next is entry. How would you enter the trade? And hope there is data backing up that methodology or ideology of entering trades. And finally, timing. What is the best time to trade a particular system that you're trading? So I'm bullish on BTC, bullish on gold, bullish on EU, bullish on GU, and bearish on UJ long term. All of this provided that the data we're seeing on the market fundamentally all continue to support the fact that the dollar is weak. So weakening jobs, inflation rate stays either way it is or it weakens, all of those things are in place. If those things begin to shift, meaning our whys begins to shift, then the what will begin to shift, and if the what begins to shift, the how will begin to shift as well. This is how you trade, and nothing will surprise you. You understand holistically what the market is doing, and it's like you're ready for any possibility. So we're not predicting exactly, we're reacting to what the markets are doing. Go look back on my weekly preps I did 4 weeks ago. At least 95 to 99% of the time, market literally did what I said it would do. long term, it still did what I said it to do, even though there was like a short term misdirection just to grab liquidity. So you can see that we actually know what we're talking about. So take these 4 pillars and apply them to your trading, and I'm telling you, you will begin to see some form of consistency, which will eventually lead you to become profitable. But if you want us to help you and work with you till you're profitable without you paying a dime, then you go head over to this website, dmcic-ic.uw.ai. We have about 20 spots, around 20 something spots left for 6 more days. Make sure you get take advantage before these spots are exhausted. So if you've gained value from this session, you want to consider subscribing, because I send these weekly preps out every Sunday so you don't miss them. They're very valuable and they've helped a ton of people. And if you put them into if you implement the things that I share inside of the weekly preps, they'll definitely improve your trading as well. So I want to thank you for the time you've spent here. I don't take it for granted. I'll see you in the next one. Good night.